I really didn't plan to or want to do a video so quickly right after just doing one, but almost instantly after I did the last one, Dabu, Dabu comes out and he shows me this, or he shows everybody this news report of the 100 monkeys. And I was like, oh, there's so much about this story that I want to talk about. It's absolutely bizarro land. And of course, I'm showing Wizzard of Oz, fly my pretties, fly, fly. Y'all hopefully remember that from the Wizzard of Oz. And it's just like there's this wicked witch somewhere, because there's just like one thing right after another that's too just freaking crazy to believe in the news. And then you got this. And of course, a lot of people instantly have the subconscious memory triggered of the movie Outbreak, because this 100 monkeys, they're lab monkeys, if you've got to know by now, but 100 monkeys being laboratory monkeys filled with God knows what, are being transported on the highway. They run into a dump truck. They spill the monkeys all over the highway. And one monkey's still out there, and they're putting out, please don't get near the monkeys. Don't report the monkey. These are dangerous monkeys. And what's the first thing? The very next day, woman's got in contact with the monkey and had a cut on her, of course, and she's showing symptoms, and all these weird things are happening. And it's so bizarre. It's so like the movies. It's so like the movie Outbreak. You can't make it up. It's like a bizarre movie. It's like somebody behind the scenes is letting the monkeys fly. It's like the Matrix simulation has run its course. The scientists have done everything that they needed to do in this Matrix, and now they've handed us over to like the junior high science class, and they're just having fun. That's what it feels like sometimes. It's either the end times or we're in a big, huge cosmic reality TV joke, and the hidden cameras are everywhere. Something's going on, though. But I wanted to put my 2 cents in about these monkeys, because I see everybody else is, and of course Jacob is. And as soon as I saw the 100 monkeys, I thought of the 100 monkeys experiment, of course, and I thought of the 12 monkeys in the movie. And I thought about Outbreak and Dustin Hoffman and the firebombing of the town. But God Rolls Channel 2 just did this, saying, did they just let out the real 12 monkeys? The movie with Brad Pitt, and how predictive that might be. And there you got the one eye symbolism and all that. And just to recap what the 100th monkey effect is, it's a hypothetical phenomenon, it's a hypothetical, I can't talk this morning, hypothetical phenomenon in which a new behavior or idea is spread rapidly by unexplained means from one group to all related groups once a critical number of members of the group exhibit the new behavior or acknowledge the new idea. Kind of like we've been talking about hitting that threshold of herd immunity. Maybe this symbolically, this 100 monkeys is released to say, we're gonna hit this magic number, and all the monkeys are gonna snap into line. All you monkeys out there are gonna get this right, because just like y'all might have thought of the movie Outbreak, I instantly thought, sure, that was a complete, I'm going to believe the narrative as it's being explained, that these monkeys were just in transport, no special precautions are taken, they're filled up with God knows what, and the guy runs into a dump truck, and they get out and release their toxins into the world, along with all the other toxins that are in the world right now, and all the others scrambling to save our lives and put something in us. And the funny thing about the movie Outbreak, which this brings to everybody's memory, what was the biggest goal of that movie? It was to get that V solution. It was to get that gene therapy so that they could save everybody at the end of the day. I remember watching that movie the first time, actually rooting for him, that this solution would come along. But I didn't know about, how the solution is often the end goal well in advance. It's like that Supernatural episode with the Crow-Tone, and I talked about that and how this thing was released, and then the solution was the big Corp V solution at the end. And just a side note, if I have time to talk about things going on in the world, we know the things going on right now, conflict-wise, is making a lot of headlines. Another thing interesting, and I love Carl Vernon, and he did this one here, and how people who are being denied callously and cold, denied life-saving medical treatment unless they're on board with the V program. If you're not, you're just the love of many waxing cold right before our eyes. And I'm afraid here it's applying to kidney transplants. It's going to apply to every sort of medical treatment if you do not get on board with the agenda. You have to question why they're going to go to this extreme. I mean, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing to watch. And in other news, my friend Ernie introduced me to this channel called Maverick Star Reloaded. And he is showing, so we talk about climate change and tipping points and things like this. So he just did a video recently showing that he explains why he believes that, but he believes we have about 14 months left. 14 months before the flip of the poles, before the magnetic flip takes place. And I've been reading a lot of, in quote, scientific, like the authority, the NASA's and all them, and what they have to say about magnetic pole shifts. They do not disagree that this could happen soon. There's disagreements about how long ago it happened, but the general consensus seems to be 780,000 years. But they do admit nobody really knows what kind of effect this thing will have. Nobody knows. I mean, how can you know? But the magnetic poles flipping, who knows? Who knows what would happen there? But it just doesn't get any more weird. Check out Maverick Star Reloaded and what he has to say about the 14 months left. So I'm just going to say we're either in a huge cosmic joke and they're unleashing chaos just to see how we scramble, or we are very much biblically in the end times. But even the end time stuff seems awfully crazy, almost like a junior high kid is at the helm, just having fun. And just to recap, in the last vid, I talked about Apophis, the evil serpent god, approaching Earth, and the dates that were involved with that, because I thought that was another sign of a huge cosmic joke or the tribulation. I forgot to mention that Apophis's official number is 99942, which 999 inverted would be 666. Satanists love to invert things, make them backwards, do all kinds of weird things. And 42 would be 42 months. 42 months into the Hebrew calendar would be 1,260 days. That's mentioned twice in the Bible. 1,260 days refers to two segments of the end times. The last 7 years of the tribulation, the end times, is divided by two segments of time that are 1,260 days each. We assume that these 1,260 days are continuous, like there's no gap in between. Doesn't really say that, though. But the thing that I found to be insane is the 1,260 days in between. So Apophis arrives on Friday the 13th, April of 2029, Friday the 13th. That's when Apophis is said to be able to be visually seen in our sky. You will see this thing that's bigger than the Eiffel Tower, bigger than like 3.5 football fields. It is a huge rock, and we should be able to look up and see that thing streaming across our sky because it's going to come in lower than some of the satellites. Now that is a that is a huge day. That is a huge in history. Nothing that size has skied off the rooftop of the world ever. It's It's right there. It's just gigantic. And it comes on Friday the 13th. 1,260 days before that, what day is it? Well, 1,260 days before that day is Halloween, another horror movie. This is why I say they've handed the Matrix simulation to the junior high science class, and they're just having fun. And let's just throw another one in there. Y'all remember how I've talked many times about September 23rd. For me, a year before this, 2016, September 23rd, 2016 was a huge evening for me. It was a life-changing event. It was a God experience. It just blew my mind, everything about it. From that moment on, I wanted nothing else but to be in the presence of God, because it's the greatest high that I ever felt. And all I knew is September 23, it happened to me, so it becomes a big anniversary date. Shortly after that, I start seeing that September 23 has significance to other people. Like there's one video that showed how many movies had September 23 in the background, like in numbers all over the place. September 23 was like being pushed, like that's a significant date. And then CERN apparently in late September did something at CERN to like push the envelope to the extreme with the power output, opening portals, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff, talking to demons. It was crazy. But the biggest one that I saw about September 23 is in September 23, 2017, there was going to be a lot of people saying that's going to be the rapture, and that was going to be the start of tribulation. Everybody, because the woman and the dragon, the giving birth, all that, the sign, the stars of heaven, it was just all coming together so perfectly. And we just had the 3 blood moons, the symbolically, and all this. So you can watch there's still, even though a lot of people have taken down their videos because they don't feel like anything really happened, there's still a ton, just a ton of material out there. Just type in that date and you'll see all these, end times. Well, why do I even bring that up? It was a significant day for me. It was a significant day for a lot of people in 2017. Well, what occurred 1,260 days after that day? I thought I'd find something in the news about, some kind of holiday or some kind of end times marker, and I couldn't find anything at first, and then I stumbled across it. Let me show you what I found. What I found, go figure, was Apophis on March the 6th. 2021, Apophis came by. I mean, way far away at this one. This pass, it was way far away, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was Apophis coming by the earth 1,260 days after the September. Anybody that's followed my channel, you know how much I've talked about September 23rd. It's been like the theme of my channel ever since it was created. And just coincidentally, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. It's so bizarre. Apophis came by 1,260 days after that date. So here, just let me show you the Friday the 13th when Apophis arrives in 2029, and then the Friday the 13th. It's October 31st, 2025. That's the 1,260 day separation. And here's the 1,260-day separation from September 23rd, 2017 to March the 6th, 2021. For those of you who might not believe me, because, the other day I told my wife, I said, they just released 100 monkeys, laboratory monkeys, onto the highway. And of course, one got out, just like the movie Outbreak. And of course, somebody's going to get bitten or scratched, and this is going to get released, and it's going to be another explanation for why we're dropping dead everywhere in the United States and or the world. She said to me in disbelief, "Where do you get this stuff from? Your alternative sources?" Totally didn't believe me. So I gotta show some things. All right, back to Apophis again. There it is. It's the ancient Egyptian deity embodied chaos, which that sums up the time we live in as chaos, and was an opponent of light, appears as a giant serpent. Apophis, fairly precise possible impact date. Yeah, okay, so they're trying to get it really narrowed down. This person said, looking to the future, who knows what may happen on Friday the 13th? An asteroid 99942 Apophis will pass away close to the Earth. At least it's not 66642. That would be freaky. Well, yeah, like I said, Satanists flip things around upside down and backwards all the time. So this is when a potentially hazardous asteroid glides safely past Earth on March 6th. Astronomers will conduct a dress rehearsal for the dramatic close miss pass in 2029. So there it is. I mean, for those of you who just can't believe that there's this thing happened on March the 6th, which just coincidentally is 1,260 days since the September 23rd woman in the sky appearing, all that stuff, and the dragon. The funny thing about the dragon thing is its tail sweeps like a third of the stuff. I mean, it's just all this stuff. When you read Revelations, you see chaotic events with the earth and the stars and the tumbling around and the tipping point, the climate change. Everything goes nuts. And a lot of people wonder if these poles really do shift, say, in the next 14 months. It's kind of a guesstimate. You'll have to go into Maverick Star Reloaded and listen to his video on where he says the 14 months and how he's tracking it. But if these things flipped, and nobody really knows what the impact would be. You know, the movie The Day After Tomorrow is based on these magnetic poles flipping, and it just causes this climatic chaos. But nobody really knows. But it's potential. There's a potential there that it could be very much like the book of Revelations. Let's wrap it up with a few verses. And I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for sackcloth and ashes indicate mourning and misery and lamentation and grief. Oh, the reason I was looking that up is I always knew it as sackcloth and ashes, but if you actually go into Revelations 11:13, you're missing one of those words, and apparently it was never there. So take a look at that. Somebody can investigate the sackcloth and the ashes are gone. Don't know why. And by the way, if you don't know, a lot of people are making a to-do about Revelation 6 right at the beginning. In fact, I wanted to do a breakdown of Revelation 6 sometime and just tell you what my thoughts are. But in Revelation 6, right at the beginning, it talks about a rider on a white horse, and he's crowned with the corona, and he has an arrow that, and he's armed with an arrow or maybe a syringe. And it's the Greek word toxin, toxic. And the base of the bow indicates a fabric like a mask. Just kind of some interesting ideas along with that. Of course, he's riding on a white horse, and often you think of white as doctors and lab coats, but there's another one there that I think the great argument could be made as white for the Holy Roman Empire, the papacy, all that. So We'll run down that at a later date. And there's the verse for you. I watched the Lamb open the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures come, look, behold, white horse. The rider had a bow, crown given. Okay, so you can break that all down. In Daniel, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. None of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So the thing to understand, if you're wise, is that when times are tough, during this time period it's talking about, the most common reaction to that will be to curse God, to blame God, to hate God, rather than acknowledging that we kind of brought this on ourselves and to repent. It's the story of Moses and Pharaoh. Pharaoh's heart was always hardened every time a new plague came upon his land. Instead of repenting and saying, you know what, you win, God, I'm done, I'm not going to fight you anymore. That's what he should have done. He should have repented. But instead, he took the opposite approach. We all know what happened to Pharaoh. So this prophecy would be tucked away until it became prevalent, and then we'd know what it means. Some other things to note of interest, that in the time of the end, that many will run to and fro, knowledge shall be increased. Knowledge has increased. Everybody, I think this is undisputable, how much knowledge has increased throughout the world. Transportation education. Many will run to and fro. It's talking about the 1260 days that occurs twice in Revelations. It says 60 days. It says in Revelations 11:3, 60 days clothed in sackcloth. See, that sackcloth I always thought was and ashes. People say that a lot, but we're not finding it now. And I shall grant my 2 witnesses to prophesy. I haven't fully dug into this one yet, so I'm speaking about it a little premature. I need to dig in and find out if it's absolutely nowhere or not, because I have not done the research yet. But sackcloth, while because I'm doing this way too quick, I wanted to wait, but there's just too much to say, too much stuff coming out with these dang monkeys. Allow my 2 witnesses to speak. And then in Revelations 12:6, the very next chapter, this is Revelations 12 with the woman, the September 23, 2017 experience, goes in the wilderness. God prepares a place where she's sustained, and more to look into on that later. All right, so I just should wrap this up, but after I did the last video showing 1260 days between 2 very bizarre horror movies, I discovered almost immediately there was 1260 days between Apophis pass here right by Earth last year and the September 23. So it's just maddening how crazy this stuff is and how the world is right now. I've never seen the world so crazy, but the love of many grown cold is a real concern. There is a growing group of people who are being persecuted, and they're being persecuted for their beliefs and the temple of their body, and not wanting to take gene therapy, refusing it. There is great persecution like never before, and I never thought in my life I would see this level of persecution. But it's here. It's in the world right now, along with all the conflict and the rumors of wars and the earthquakes. And I'm not even covering all the crazy stuff with the missiles flying into the ocean, and then all of a sudden there's all these, all this stuff that's just happening. And then we got the magnetic poles flipping around on us, and we got the monkeys being released, and we got the chip technology and people calling for that. And I keep seeing ads for people to be working in these camps, these facilities that are gonna take people against their will, and they're gonna house them there. It's all growing, it's all ramping up, and it's just a huge cosmic sad. It's very sad to be in it. I mean, it might be funny if you're a junior high kid in a science class watching us all scramble about, but it's very sad for us who are living through it. This is the time of sackcloth and ashes. It is a time of sorrow. It's a time of sorrow to see this man here talking to the person at the hospital about him like having to die. I mean, he's choosing between life and death right now, and he's coldly being told, you can just die then. I mean, that's not in those words, but the sense is, no, there's no love, no compassion, no concern. You can just die. Keep your love strong as you can during these times. Don't let it go. Don't scorn God when things get tough. Find repentance and wear your sackcloth.